Well, hello and welcome to
Okay.
Senior Info. And this is going to be a weekly show we're going to have through the summer months for seniors to keep you informed. And Kelly Bowles, who is the director of the Senior Center, and Eric Connolly, who runs Blackstone Valley Physical Therapy. And they're going to be here every week with us, and you'll be able to get informed and up to date because, as Kelly was saying, a lot of her clients at the Senior Center don't have access to the internet.
Or devices to
Or
use.
devices, yeah. They're before the internet.
Exactly.
That's changing rapidly, but
It is. Yeah.
a lot of seniors using cell phones now, smartphones. So things are changing, but Kelly wanted to keep everyone informed and quite concerned. You haven't seen these people now since the middle of March.
Correct. So it was the middle of March when we decided to close the senior center to the public, and the staff remained in the building to take phone calls. And then as the virus progressed and the numbers were changing, we made the decision to shut down the senior center. We are accepting voicemail messages. However, that's not quite the same.
Right.
So what we decided to do was take a list of folks that live in the community, and we divided among staff and some of my volunteers, and we made outreach calls, which was very helpful. People want to hear a live voice on the other end of the
Oh, yes,
the telephone.
absolutely. I mean, nothing's more discouraging to get a voicemail when you call somewhere.
Right.
Because you feel like you haven't accomplished anything.
Exactly.
And especially seniors, because they're concerned, if they have a problem, they're really concerned about getting it resolved.
And they want to speak with somebody right
Yeah.
away. So I am actually excited to announce right here with you both that starting on Monday, June 1st, my staff will be returning to the building.
Oh,
We will be on a shortened schedule, so it'll be Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 1 p.m. And you're welcome to call the Senior Center at 508-234-2002, and someone will pick up the phone and speak with you, and we'll try to assist you remotely, as we have been doing all along, but we'll continue to do that, or any other issues that you may need assistance with.
so while we're at that, for people who haven't visited the senior center, what are some of the things you offer that they probably don't know you offer?
So in our, on a normal schedule at the senior center, we do offer many fitness programs. We also have our card groups. We have a very active cribbage club. We also have a shuffleboard. So that's an indoor shuffleboard court, but it's raised up. It's not on the floor. We just introduced a cornhole league. We have two beautiful billiard pool tables
Yes.
that folks come in and utilize. And we
But
have a
now-
lot of great
But
space.
none of this stuff can be done now until, well, I don't know when things are going to reopen entirely.
And we're not sure at this point, unfortunately. I wish I had the crystal ball. I am working closely with Mass Council on Aging. They actually have a COVID-19 task force that are coming up with guidelines for all of the senior centers in the Commonwealth. So I'll be anxious to see what they recommend. And once I have that information, I will then go back to my local authorities, being the town manager and Board of Health, to review those guidelines and see what will work best for us.
But, I mean, you offer things over and above the recreation there. You have the Meals on Wheels, that's part of your program.
And that's
isn't
still going currently.
Yes.
That never stopped.
it? Right.
So those meals are still being delivered with an increase in numbers, obviously, during this time.
Yeah, because also, you know, a lot of seniors are up against the fact that it's hard to shop. I mean, you go to the store and they're not letting anyone in because there's too many people in the building already.
Exactly.
Things like that, so it can be tough for them.
There's a lot of barriers, absolutely. Yeah.
And then you offer also other programs according, for medical and things like that, right?
Transportation is one of our largest programs that we offer.
Yeah, is the bus running at all?
No,
Not at all.
not at all. And
Well, so many people relied on your senior bus to get them back and forth for medical.
correct.
But again, I don't know how many people are getting medical exams. I needed to get checked and I had to fight with them to physically see me. They want to do,
Telehealth.
telehealth. And I said, no, I need to see the doctor. And he agreed when he did see me.
Right,
It was something we had to physically see.
right.
But that's a problem now.
It is. It is.
And what are these seniors doing that need to get to a doctor? Are they,
So for the most part, I've encouraged people to rely on their families.
yeah,
And often you hear older adults not wanting to contact family members because they feel like they're either a bother or they think that that family member is busy. However, over the past a couple of months, everybody's kind of slowed down a little bit in terms of their work schedule. So I'm finding that a lot of people are getting assistance from their
well,
families
they're home.
now.
A lot of people are home. They're not working either.
So it's been a huge help in the terms of whether it's grocery shopping or picking up prescriptions or if they need to get to a doctor, and those types of,
Well, the WRTA is still running,
it is.
so that's a little bit of a help there.
It is. The only issue with that is it's not a door-to-door service.
Right, you've got to go to where their stops are.
Exactly, exactly. There is an option that it's called a flex, and you can call, I believe it's 24 hours in advance, you can call the WRTA to have them flex off of their route to pick you up. But I don't know if a lot of people realize that that's an option.
Right. It's got to be quite a burden for a lot of families that have seniors around. You know, the daycares are closed.
Right.
It's really, and it's going to be boring for a lot of seniors who are extremely active. I know it was quite an organization you had down there with all the different groups you have. And a lot of them, I mean, that was their day. They just,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a huge loss for us.
I mean, you had the French Club.
We did have that at one time, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very active, right
Growing-
before I started, yeah.
Growing up in Rockdale, you know, that's all I heard.
Yes.
You don't hear it anymore. It's not.
Or is it we? We.
Yeah, we. But then we. That's another. That was a slang or something. I don't know. I used to hear it all the time. But yeah, it's got to be really tough on a lot of seniors.
It is. Yeah.
And there's no, like I said, there's no projected date when this is going to come around.
No.
And that includes the bus won't start again until.
I don't have a date at this point. Actively working on, again, seeing what the guidelines are.
That's a possibility before you open then.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking they might kind of go hand in hand at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, because seniors are especially vulnerable to this virus.
Definitely. And I wouldn't want to put anybody at risk.
Right. And it looks like it's getting better, but who knows? I mean, we could have a sudden rebirth.
Exactly. Once we start phasing in.
And that is the big fear, you know, are we able to avoid that, and with people taking the steps to be more careful with what they're doing, whether it's masks, whether it's washing their hands, whether it's when they start to have symptoms, shutting it down and not going out and exposing others to it. Those are the big things that I'm hoping for, that we're smart enough to recognize
Right.
will keep our numbers down and quickly get our life as back to normal as we're going to get it, you know, after all this is what I'm hoping for.
Well, one thing in your field that seniors should be aware of is exercise.
Absolutely.
Exercise will help to keep you healthy. It builds up your immune system.
Yep, it'll make everything function better. You know, it'll keep everybody's mood better. It'll make sure we're getting out there, and much like Kelly was saying, you know, my fear is a lot of our patients haven't been able to get out, we haven't been able to see them. I'm afraid they're sitting at home not doing anything,
Right.
and that's kind of almost the worst thing you can do, short of going out and not caring about the precautions from getting the virus. So being able to get out and still get some exercise, socially distanced and safe, is a priority that I'd like to stress to everybody out there, to go out and do some things in a safe manner to keep active. It'll be good for your head, it'll be good for your heart, it'll be good for everything.
You get out and walk around.
That's it. Find a nice level place that's safe
Yeah.
to walk without, you know, some of the sidewalks are in rough shape here and there. Walking in St. Pat's Cemetery is a great place to do it. I have a couple
Yeah.
patients walking on Linwood Ave where the sidewalk's a little shaky here and there, but at least it's a flatter area. And doing some of those things, you know, trying to avoid the heat. Now that it's actually getting warm out, try to avoid those peak times and get out early and walk in the morning or walk in the evening.
This could be a problem. I mean, when you were open, you were air conditioned,
Right.
so they could cut down and have some relief if they don't have it in their home. But I would say this, if you know of any seniors that want a free air conditioner, I have 3 of them.
Oh, good to know. Because that, as I said, when we return on Monday, this will be a part of our outreach calls to see who is in need of air conditioning. Because all of a sudden the heat is here, so that is something to be addressed.
Yeah, I
Thank
put
you.
some, well, I put the, what we have here,
Mhm.
the ductless in. And I'm not lugging air conditioners upstairs anymore.
Nope.
So I want to give them away, but I'd like to give them to someone who can really use them.
Wonderful.
And they work great, and 3 of them aren't that heavy.
Good.
One that's pretty heavy, but 3 of them aren't that heavy, so it wouldn't be that bad. But, you know, once you get them in, you leave them anyway,
Right.
some of these seniors.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that could be a problem coming up. I mean, we've gone from winter to summer without a spring.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's horrible, but that's the way things happen around here sometimes.
Right.
But, yeah, so, well, anyway, on the exercises, yeah, I hate to see, it's gonna be so easy to sit down and become a couch potato. Especially when there's so many different channels now, God, there's anything you wanna watch.
Yeah.
But if you start doing that, now you're gonna start putting on the pounds. If you're diabetic, your sugar's gonna go up. You've gotta stay
You
active.
start to lose muscle mass and strength, you lose some of your
Yes.
coordination and balance, and then all of those things start to add up and turns into a bigger problem. So the ability of, if we do have some tech-savvy seniors out there, the ability to get online and look at, Silver Sneakers has some programs out there with exercise classes, as well as the community center has some. On our Facebook page, we have a yoga class we put on back in April. So there are avenues out there for people to get some activity, even if you can't get out of the house, if it is too hot and you want to do some of those things. The option is there to get some of that help. And again, I think if you can't handle it technologically, I don't know, you know, you'd be willing to call my office, or I bet you can call the senior center starting next week and try to have somebody walk you through it. We've had to do that. We did offer telehealth as an option for people that didn't want to come out. We were doing that through the end of March and April for people that didn't feel comfortable coming out to see us at the office. We were able to get a bunch of people that weren't tech savvy to use, whether it was a phone, anything that had a camera on it that faced you, a laptop, a phone, or a tablet, and we were able to do some of the telehealth calls. It wasn't quite as good as the real thing, but it was enough to help some people that were in some pain that didn't need to be.
You know, that's a good way for you to stay in touch with some of your members too.
Exactly.
And if you can visually see them, you
Right.
might catch something that, look, that person's not
Right.
looking too good, or something wrong here, and you could advise them, or even have someone check in on them.
Exactly. Yes.
But we'll be going live on Thursday nights. So
Okay?
what we'll do, this week we're recording, because I can't be here Thursday night. This week only. I don't stop.
Good.
We noticed.
Yeah, I'm going in for some day surgery on Thursday, but it'll be one day, and with me, it's one day. I'll be back to doing what I do after that. But anyway, starting a week from Thursday, well, a week from this Thursday, we'll be live, and you could call in. We'll have the number up, and we'll put it, no, it won't be on this week because we're recording, and they can call up and
Nice.
talk directly to you.
Excellent.
We don't have the capability of, what do you call it, television, med television, but
Okay.
until we got the phone,
Exactly.
we'll have the phone. So keep that in mind. We'll tune in. We'll be on every Thursday at 7 o'clock. And what they're doing, Eric and
Kelly.
Ellie, I have senior moments, but I don't consider myself a senior.
After the past 2 months, we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Eric and Kelly will be here and take your questions. They're filling in for the summer for About the Valley. This is our About the Valley Summer Spectacular, you might say. Great way
Very good.
to fill in with our seniors and keep them informed. And you can keep them informed on what's going on, too.
Absolutely. And I was thinking, if there are some times that Eric wasn't available, that I could bring other staff on.
Oh,
that
absolutely,
would have
yes.
other,
As well as some guests. You have people,
Sure.
speakers that come into the senior center
Mhm.
to inform your seniors on situations like financial situations
Exactly.
for them. I know a lot of seniors are interested in finding out about reverse mortgages
Yep.
and about income tax, and
Sure.
there's a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
Medicare, big question.
Yeah.
Things, because any government program, it's constantly changing.
It is, and it's very hard to navigate, and so it's helpful to listen to an expert.
Yes,
Yeah,
and we need experts
we
today.
do.
Yeah,
Hard to
Yeah.
find.
yeah, you need to know where you stand. I mean, if you end up going into a nursing facility, what happens with your property?
Right.
And all these things, and these are questions, and a lot of seniors don't address them until it's too late.
Exactly. When they're in the crisis, and then they
Yeah.
have to scramble to make the right decision.
Yeah, it can be quite tough. And, but are you finding a lot of new people coming in? Well, not now, but,
Right before our closure, yes, I have to say, with some of the newer programs that we have initiated, I am seeing younger seniors
yes,
coming in. Yes. Yeah, which was very encouraging and exciting, and some have become volunteers as well as participants, which is also is wonderful to have.
well, the thing is, once you retire, sometimes you can be bored to death because you don't have anything to do. You've gone from working sometimes more than 40 hours a week,
Right.
and now all of a sudden, you got all this time on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either beat up on your spouse, because you're home all day and you're tired of looking at each other,
Mm-hmm.
or get out. And so that's where the senior center comes in.
Definitely.
But like I said, unfortunately now you don't have that, but we're trying to make up a little bit of it.
Exactly. Yes.
But will you think you'll be able to do some things though, away from the senior center till you open up that?
So funny you should mention that. Just over the past few weeks, we have a local musician that we have brought to some of the senior housing complexes for an outdoor concert. About
Good.
an hour,
Yeah,
where people can come out of their apartments or stay, on their little front step or balconies or hang out the window.
yeah,
And have some live entertainment. It's a woman she has a beautiful voice, and she plays the keyboard, and very uplifting. We saw a boost of morale, and I think that's something that, in the lines of, we can still be a senior center, but we don't have to be in a building.
Right.
We can take this on the road. We can do this.
yeah, and being outside, you got plenty of room to social distance.
Definitely. It was safe for everybody, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great idea, and again, it breaks up the boredom.
It does. And it shows that we're still here, and we're still very much a part of the community, and I think for people to see us was helpful too.
Right. Now, you run trips too, right?
Correct.
But that's out for now.
That's on hold as well.
I know, I talked to Don Menard, is quite
Which I
concerned.
feel
He's,
badly for, yes.
yeah, I mean, he's got all these buses,
Yes.
he can't, and they won't even let him take the insurance off. So he's gonna pay, and I imagine, you know what your car insurance is like, imagine what his insurance is.
Correct.
Sure.
And yeah, I think he's got a dozen of them now or something like that, and it's pretty expensive to keep, and he can't drive them,
No.
can't use them.
No, it's very discouraging.
Yeah. The casino opened up, but they won't let anybody from Mass come.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you have to be from Connecticut.
Right.
Rhode Island, if you go down to Twin Rivers, you gotta be from Rhode Island. So he can't even have that program.
Yeah.
It's hitting everybody.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to have someone in every seat, you could break them up. So that, not fill the bus capacity, but at least give them something.
Right. And again, that's how I'm looking at my transportation
Yes, you
is
could,
in a
if you
similar
didn't
way.
fill it,
As long as it's safely.
yeah, if you keep them separated.
Right.
I know the school department's looking at that for, the
the
school
bus.
buses.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But then you might find that a lot of kids won't take the bus, parents are gonna be nervous, and they'll be driving them to school.
Yeah. There's a lot of what ifs.
A lot of challenges coming up,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, society's gonna change a lot. Unless something happens all of a sudden, and, I mean, you remember the H2N1, everyone was concerned about that virus, and all of a sudden it disappeared. It doesn't exist any longer, so, well, we can keep praying that
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
this happens with this one too, and all of a sudden it doesn't exist any longer.
Right.
But, you have to look at it, what the situation is at hand. And, you have any special things you wanted to say to your seniors out there?
Well, again, I just wanted to let everyone know that we are most definitely still here for you. And again, starting on Monday, June 1st, we will be taking phone calls where staff will be answering phones and will be able to answer questions or maybe make some recommendations or help you problem solve through some things, or if you just want a friendly chat, because sometimes that's just
someone
enough.
to talk to.
Right, exactly.
What are some of the problems that your seniors run into, just in general, that you handle? Just give us an idea what it's like there.
So for the most part, it's assistance with paperwork, whether it be for assistance with Social Security or navigating through their medical insurance. We also help with fuel assistance. That program actually is still running. Their deadline was pushed to the end of this month, so this is still a couple more days.
Oh.
That program is still available for assistance with fuel, and that's, oil, whatever your fuel heating source is, whether it's oil, gas, electricity. That's a great program that we assist with. We're actually an intake site for them.
Oh, okay, yeah, very important. And this spring has been pretty cold, so it's good that it was extended.
They did extend it, which was, it was great.
But I know, like Medicare now, it's so confusing. Every year you have to you have supplemental, but you have different plan A, B, C, and D.
Exactly.
I don't understand half of it myself.
There's so much, and for me, I rely so much on the SHINE program because they are, it's a volunteer program, but they are kept well-informed and trained with the latest information when it comes to Medicare and all the other supplemental insurances.
Yeah, I mean, it changes so much. I mean, we've got the prescription program now, which, well, we've had it now for about 10 years.
Right.
But that's confusing because that varies on what type of program, right?
Exactly, yes.
And then you got, your hospitalization, the doctor. I mean, it's very confusing.
It's confusing, and then, as you said, things change so
Yeah.
rapidly that it's hard to keep up with the
And the
latest.
same thing on the provider end. There are
Right.
so many different variations of replacement plans this and replacement plans that, and, it's hard to figure out what people's benefits are these days and what's covered and what's not.
And it seems everyone is different.
It absolutely does.
And again, you got the supplementals, and those are all different.
Yep.
Who you go with. Some of them will be paid by Medicare, and there's no out-of-pocket cost, and others there is an out-of-pocket cost, but then you get more coverage, I guess. I mean, I'm fortunate, I'm on Medicare, but I have my supplemental is paid through my retirement,
Nice.
so I don't even think about all that. I don't have to think about all that.
You're a lucky guy.
Yeah, it was a good program. I got a great retirement plan. That's why I'm able to stay so active
Good.
and not get paid.
You get paid in other ways, Harry.
Right. But That's the key though, to staying young
Mm-hmm,
and to keeping up, is to stay active.
definitely.
Keep involved, whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally, making sure, again, you're
Yeah.
not, social distancing doesn't have to be social isolation. You know, there are enough other avenues we have these days between phones and internets and everything else to be able to get some interaction with somebody else.
Yeah, you see a lot of people, they retire, they don't do anything, they don't have any hobbies, and the first thing you know, they're passing away
Right.
because they have no reason to stay alive. And you know, here again, the senior center offers that. Fortunately, we don't have it open right now, but it will be back.
It will be.
And we're not broadcasting, so I had the phone ringing, but it can't be for us because we're not broadcasting.
Right.
We're recording.
That would be interesting if it
Yeah.
was, though.
Yeah, I noticed that there's been quite an increase in deaths in town lately.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I don't think it's all related to the virus. I think part of it is the fact that you can't be open.
It-
And some of those people are,
There
pretty-
could be some correlation.
yeah.
That, and people were scared to go to the hospital, right? When this was all,
That's another
Well,
factor.
the other thing
escalating
is,
in
yeah,
March.
you can't
you
get
didn't
in.
want to go, and people were not going when they had symptoms and waiting too long to go. And, you know, hopefully
Right.
now things seem to have leveled off a little bit more where there is availability if you do go, that you're not going to necessarily be as exposed. And the hospitals seem more ready than they used to be.
Right.
Well, it's a lot of trouble now to even get in. You know, I had an appointment, I had to sit in the parking lot,
Mhm.
and when they were ready, she came out to the door and said, okay, come in.
Right.
But now I'm going for day surgery. I had to have the test, COVID test. I had it Memorial Day, Monday, because they had to do it 3 days ahead.
Mhm.
I'm negative,
Good.
but if I was positive, they wouldn't let me in for the surgery.
Right.
And that just started again. And I think that was part of a problem too, with some people. I mean, people that needed surgery couldn't get it.
Yep.
Because the hospitals weren't allowed to do elective surgeries.
No, there's going to be a big backlog of people that are waiting to get in to
Yeah.
do these things. So it's going to be a complex situation for a while until the system catches back up, because, you know, there weren't many medical avenues that were slow before this.
Right.
And to shut everything down for 6, 8 weeks and then turn the faucet back on isn't going to
Oh,
go.
yeah, everything's
perfectly
backed up.
smooth.
I mean, I got an appointment Tuesday for haircut Friday, you know? The dentist called. I had an appointment on June 2nd. They go, you got to reschedule.
Right.
I called them up. Well, the only opening we got is June 9th at 3 o'clock. I said, I want to go in the morning. Can't. I said, you have anything in the future? Well, we're booked solid till October.
Mhm.
And I said, well, what happened to my June 2nd? We're not allowed to do cleaning until after June 9th.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I said, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
We don't realize how good we had it before all this, right? And all the flexibility people had. And
We took everything for granted.
Yeah, we did.
And all of a sudden, boom, the whole world had collapsed and changed.
it changed. It changed, and it's going to be an adjustment like we've never seen in our lifetimes, I don't think. But we will get through it, and we will come back and adjust to a new normal and get used to that.
Well, you see little signs that things are improving. And one of them is, if you go to Walmart, the toilet paper aisle is filled.
Yes.
I mean, I seen.
That's a welcome.
Went for weeks, right? We went
Yes.
for weeks. I remember going there early in the morning. We were running low. I went early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, got in the door, and there was about a half a dozen people with me, and everybody went to the toilet paper aisle, and it was cleaned out in like about 15 minutes.
Really?
Right.
Well,
I said, this is unbelievable. And now, I mean, but you go through the store, and there's a lot of items that are way low.
Right.
And it's going to take time to get distribution back up.
well, that's it. Getting those supply chains back up and running is challenging. I know we
Yeah.
had a hard time getting disinfectant for a while, and that was part of the reason why we closed.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't able to clean the way we'd normally clean, and once we got disinfectant and sanitizer back in stock, and everybody had masks, that's when we felt comfortable opening back up and doing
There's
so in a
another
safe
thing
manner.
too. Yeah, it's still impossible to get in the supermarket.
Right.
I mean, the sprays or anything like that, it's
Yeah.
always empty.
Mhm.
Eventually it'll come back, but
Yeah.
it makes it tough if you want to keep your house clean.
That's it.
But yeah, it's going to be it's been quite an experience.
It has been, for sure.
And it's never happened before. We've had pandemics. I don't know if you remember, 1969, there was a flu pandemic. I was in Europe at the time, and hardly remember that much about it. But if you check back in the history, it was really bad. It was a Hong Kong flu, they called it. And tremendous amount of people got sick, and a lot of people died, especially elderly. And it actually put it on almost an equal parallel to the Spanish flu in 1918.
Wow.
But we don't hear that much about it because we didn't go to the point that we went with this one.
Right.
And I guess they believe that this one was much more severe, and they're not even calling it a flu. They're really calling it a virus. And this one kills a lot quicker. But I think we're getting around that, and there were some children that did have some rare situations that took place. But then that ended pretty quick.
Yeah, there were different
Currently
forms.
now, I think they're still finding these Kawasaki, it's a version of
Yes.
Kawasaki syndrome
Right.
Yeah,
that they're finding, that cases still seem to be showing up on, and I don't know, we'll have the hard numbers on these things until we,
yeah, we haven't
We're
heard
down
any
the
real
road.
high numbers about it.
not high numbers, but if it's your kid, that
Oh,
number's high
yeah,
enough.
it's okay, yeah,
So it's one of those scary things where you say, oh, it's not affecting kids, well, some of the kids it's affecting.
Yeah.
And that is I think the trait that's really challenging with this virus is that some people feel a lot and some people don't feel much, and, again, allowed it to permeate us so quickly and effectively.
There is a lot of concern on this one. I mean, I go back to the days of polio.
Right.
In fact, Dr. Balmer gave me my first polio shot. That's how old I am. And then we went to drink,
Okay.
which was a relief by all the kids.
I'm sure.
No more needle. But, I mean, I remember growing up, and it was always concern, especially in the late summer, because that's when it really hit hard.
Okay.
And I had friends that ended up with polio. And they had it the rest of their lives.
Right.
So, I mean, we've been through situations before, and
Mhm.
somehow we managed to pull it off.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll do something here. But in the meantime, we gotta do what we can to make it possible. That's why, like I say, you're gonna be here every Thursday through the summer. And I should make it but if I don't, you could do it. You could do it without
We
me.
appreciate this, Harry.
I don't know about
Yes.
that, Harry.
Ah, be surprised. I have to get rolling.
But I think one of the differences with today's flu versus the other ones is we've got so much more coverage of it.
Yes.
And if you spend all your time sitting watching the TV and watching the coverage of it, it builds and builds and builds, and anxiety goes up with it. And if
We've
you
got
can,
news channels that we never had before, 24-hour news.
and internet news
And
pouring
internet.
down, and everything else.
And you got Facebook and social media
Yeah,
and
and everybody likes to
Twitter
share their
and-
two cents about it, and if you get caught up in all those other things going on, you're gonna miss what's going on in front of you. And
Right.
getting caught up in what ifs and things like that. It's good to be aware of what's going on, but you don't have to, internalize all of that and go for it. And, again, get outside and go for a walk and you'll see what's really going on
Yeah.
versus
and
what you're seeing on a screen someplace.
Especially
When somebody's
beautiful
telling you
weather
that.
now, it's a great walking weather.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And you recommend, Eric, that you go to a flat area, so the cemeteries are a great spot.
They are. It's plenty of room to be social distance. It's, again, usually pretty well taken care of. It is, God forbid if something did happen to you, there's somebody else usually walking around there.
Right.
You're not in the middle of the woods someplace where somebody wouldn't find you. If, God forbid, you fell or anything like that, again, it should be a pretty safe area to be able to use it effectively.
Well, that's another good thing now. A lot of seniors do have the devices,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what? Everybody's got a cell phone. Everyone has their own number today,
For the most part.
for the
yeah.
most part. What a great thing to have around. I mean, if you get hurt, 911,
Right.
you're gonna get contacted with someone.
As long as, again, not to go too dark on it, but if the phone doesn't fall out of your hand or you can reach it and those types of things, sometimes the button makes sense. And I know some of the buttons, the call buttons also have cellular service now to them, so if you are
Yes.
somebody who's out and about, that might not be a bad thing to have.
Well, for seniors, it's not a bad thing.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, Medicare will pick up the cost, right?
There are some programs that are based on income, and that's certainly something that we can assist with as well.
Yes, and that's a, you know, whether you like the idea or not, it's well worth it.
It is, it's a great safety net.
And also, I imagine they have a record of some of your medical records, so that if you do get picked up, they can communicate with the company to find out if the person has special needs. Is that?
I'm not, no, I don't think that they get that involved. But there are other options for that. We do have, we recommend that people, especially for those that we were having participate in our trips, it's the File of Life. And there's two different sizes. There's one size that you could put on your refrigerator, but there's a smaller pocket size that could actually fit into your wallet. And it has all your medical information, your demographics, your medical information, medications that you may take, allergies.
Is this on a
No, it's a piece of paper,
piece of paper?
pen and pencil,
Oh,
the
old school.
old-fashioned way.
I was going to show you what I always have in my wallet. These are my medications.
That's a good way to get
Yeah.
us here each week, is getting out the wallet.
Yeah.
That'll bring us
Yeah.
back.
My medications and my supplements.
Excellent.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because I don't just, I mean, I take supplements, like a multivitamin, and I take vitamin D,
Yep.
keep the immune system working in good order.
Yep.
But it's good to know that if you go in a hospital, they know this.
Exactly.
Because if you don't go to a hospital that you're associated with, okay, my doctor is Dr. Dahl, so I'm associated with Milford, but if I get hurt in Worcester and they take me into St. Vincent's, they have no way of knowing.
That's right.
Even though I believe there was a program to try to make medical records available to everyone, all hospitals.
It's, a lot of them are on the same system now. A lot of the big hospital systems are switching over to
Yeah.
a system called Epic. And I don't know, I haven't gotten involved in it. We're a small private practice, so I'm not just familiar with it. I don't know if there is an interchange from St. V's to UMass necessarily from that point of view, but they're trying to get them all speaking the same language, so you do have access to that.
Yeah, so if you get brought in by ambulance to another hospital, they can find your records. All you gotta do is your social security number.
Hopefully. There is an option too, on cell phones nowadays, at least Apple phones or iPhones will have, you can enter some of your medical history on there and have an emergency contact and have some of those things built in there. I
I'll
haven't
bet
had to
there's
use
an
it,
app for
but
that.
it's built into the Apple system, I believe, but
Yeah,
I'm sure
but-
there are fancier ones you could pay as well that would have that and
Yeah,
and tie into it.
if you're using another phone, like what they call that system, what I got. But, yeah, other than Apple, I imagine there's an app.
Android phones?
Android, yeah. Yeah, but you can imagine there's an app that would
I'm
do
sure.
that. There's an app for everything,
I
for
was
crying
gonna
out loud.
say, there must be, you know.
I mean, I know, there's app for everything. I never, that's the other thing too. I mean,
And if there isn't, there will be.
you're right, yeah, someone will make one.
Mhm.
But for seniors though, like, you know, why don't you call, I think your predecessor,
Oh, Gail,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
It drives, it's stuck in my head for some reason.
That's okay.
She used to do a show a number of times.
Did she? Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful person. Yeah, she's great.
But you were saying that a lot of seniors aren't into the technology.
No. And that's one avenue that we would really like to focus in on once we are up and running again, is to be able to introduce that as an option in the most simple way that we could. So that is something that we know is on the forefront for us.
Yeah, you know, we have, they have phones today that are so much easier to use, they're very limited to what they have in them,
Right.
but enough to get by.
Yes.
They have tablets that are
Mhm.
very simple to use. And a lot of these seniors would find that these are great because a lot of the families now are distance apart. You know, years ago, you grew up in Northbridge, you probably stay in Northbridge.
Right.
You don't see that anymore. They go where the jobs are.
Mm-hmm.
They go to college and find, hey, I like living in this area. I went to college out here. I love this area. And they move out there. So you lose touch. But today you can stay in touch, and you can stay in touch visibly.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
That's
all
it.
you need to do
There's
is-
an added benefit to that video conferencing, of being able to see somebody's face and their facial
Yes.
expression, and how they're reacting, what you're saying, that is a step beyond the phone.
Yes.
And I know in our experience with using the telehealth, we had a number of people that were really afraid of it and really intimidated by it, but again, pretty much every person that I dealt with would end up saying, once we had it connected, hey, that was pretty easy, this wasn't so bad. And just making sure, again, it's a secure format. That's my only concern with those, some of those people that are afraid of it, is making sure you're doing something that is safe, and you're not giving out your social security number, your bank account numbers, or things like that when you do have that online interaction. Short of that, it shouldn't be that dangerous, but just don't give out, nobody should be asking for those numbers that you don't know.
Right. Well, one of the problems that I heard, an elderly person called on a talk show and said that her doctor wanted to do the telemed, but he wanted her to disrobe in front of the camera.
Oh, no.
And I don't, that's not a good idea.
No.
Number one, that thing's going into cyberspace, and, who knows who can connect into that?
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I got tape over my camera on my laptop. And I use it, I'm doing video conferencing now because I've already been to one planning board meeting, we got 2 more coming up, and they're all on Zoom. But when I'm done with the Zoom, the tape's back on.
Right.
Because you don't know if someone can activate that. So I
Well, that's
can't.
where I don't think telehealth is gonna replace medicine. I think there will
Right,
still
you
be
should
plenty
be
of
able
things
to
that
go
need to be
into the
in person.
doctor's office.
Yep.
And especially if you got some kind of a skin disease or something, how can he do that over? You've got to really see that.
And I don't think that's where it's gonna be a long-term use. I'm hoping it will become a long-term thing for your follow-up. Okay,
Yeah.
after you have your initial
Right.
visit, they gave you a cream for that rash, here, let's do a video conference, let me see it, hey, it's looking better, looks okay.
I got to
So
do
you
a
don't have to
follow-up
run and do
on telemed,
Yep,
on my surgery.
there you go.
Told me in 2 weeks you're going to telemed. He said, you got a smartphone? I said, yeah, I got a laptop too. So he said, okay, you'll be all set.
Right.
But no,
And-
there are concerns. Most of I know, and I don't want to speak for other medical practitioners, I know we went out of our way to find a HIPAA compliant system that would be used,
Yeah.
that would be secure. There were some Zoom security concerns when everything first started at the end of March, and
Yes.
Zoom tightened up their security a little bit. So as long as you have somebody that is pretty tech savvy doing it, you can really lock down some of these things and make it, again, I believe, as safe as we can make it. It is still going into cyberspace someplace, and down the road somebody might have it. But if you're taking those steps, I think it's going to be a lot more work for somebody to get into some of those things that you think are safe.
Well, of course, and it frees up the time for the doctor too.
Yep.
As well as yourself. You don't have to drive there.
Keeps
And
on
for some
social.
seniors, if seniors get to do this,
Or if your doc's in Boston, you don't want to drive into Boston,
Yeah.
things like that. Those are the things I think, that, again, there will be some value moving down the line. For, again, whether it's a surgical follow-up at the 6-month mark, for you to say, yes, my shoulder feels much better, feels great. To drive an hour into Boston and wait for an hour,
and
Just
then you
talk to
see
the
them
doctor
for
for 4
2
minutes.
minutes.
and then drive home an hour in traffic,
Right.
and you say, yeah, if I can sit at home outside and then do that video conference instead, I think
Right.
there is some value to that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we gotta get used to it.
It's new.
Yeah.
Like everything else we're going through right now, it's new.
I can take I had a grandmother, my paternal grandmother, wouldn't turn lights on. She was Polish immigrant. She used to say, "There's devil in there. The devil's in there." She didn't understand it. I mean, today who would think twice?
Right.
That's it.
But when you don't grow up, and she had kerosene lanterns in her bedroom right up until she
Wow.
died. She would not use electricity.
Fear of the unknown.
And I remember my uncle telling me about his father, how he had a crystal radio. And his father, who was Dutch, said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. The devil's got to be in there because you're getting this, sound from somewhere else."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we just got to get used to technology, and technology is just mushrooming right now. It's unbelievable. You think about it. If we go back just 10 years, telemed would not have been thought of.
No.
Not effectively. I'm trying to think when Skype was. Skype had come out back then, but it certainly wasn't secure and wasn't as reliable as what we're
Right,
dealing
it
with
wasn't
today.
very reliable.
No.
So, I mean, you go back 20 years, and God, PCs were just starting to come in.
I think they were around, but cell phones weren't cell phones. They were just phones at that point.
Yeah,
They
cell
weren't
phones,
little mini
yeah.
computers.
Till
Where you
Steve
can do
Jobs
everything.
came up with the idea.
Yep.
And now you're walking around with a mini computer
Yes.
all the time. with more computing capabilities than Apollo 13.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, easily. And, you know, that's the difference now when, again, I know, you know, when I look sometimes at my kids and they're on the phone constantly going, "I'll get off that thing," and I feel like I'm, you know, saying, "The devil's in there, get out of there."
Right.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
soon they'll be laughing about that someday.
Yes.
oh, yeah.
And we'll probably never throw masks away again, right?
No.
You know, all the masks we have
Yeah.
now, we're gonna hold on to,
We are.
and, you know, our kids will too, and their grandkids are gonna say, why don't you get rid of these masks? We haven't worn masks in years. And they'll say, oh, you weren't around in 2020.
They'll be in the museums, we're talking about it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Along with our paper towels, toilet paper,
Yes.
and
There was,
yeah.
there was a thing on Facebook, it was so funny. It said, I just used my great-grandmother's last roll of toilet paper
There it is, yeah. We
Exactly.
passed down.
because they
Yeah.
hoarded so
Right.
much.
Exactly.
I can picture these people have a house, a room with just filled with paper towels and toilet paper, because it went so fast. How much can you buy? I didn't want overboard.
Where do you put it?
Exactly.
where do you
put
put
it? And
I didn't
Share
understand
it.
that. I never. We kept it up for what we normally use.
exactly.
But people are so worried.
There was a lot of fear.
Yeah. And but I have to think sometimes the manufacturers put out a scare or something to that effect, and they just mushroomed the business.
Yeah, I don't know on that one. That one seemed to happen pretty organically, but, and it sounded like they cranked up their production. But it all depends what news you listen to these days and who you want to believe.
Oh, I know.
Exactly.
I mean, it happened so fast.
It did.
And at the time, they didn't mention diarrhea having to do with the cord virus. Now I guess it's one of the symptoms.
I did see that recently. Yeah.
Yeah, they've added a lot of symptoms to it, from
Yeah.
the
From what they've
COVID
learned.
toes to, again, the cough and the fever and all those things that go with it. But now there are rashes associated with it and some of those other things too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I got the list because they told me, if you have any of these before your surgery, tell us, because we're gonna have to check it out.
Right.
And that's going to be, to me, the big thing moving forward, that we need to be, not that we were dishonest in the past, but when somebody has a cough, yeah, you stay home.
Right.
You know, don't expose it and don't just go through it. You know, I know plenty of people, you know, it was a badge of honor to work through some of these lighter colds, and we're just going to have to be careful with those things now.
Yeah,
You know, I know with my staff, we're making sure everybody's taking their temperature in the morning and washing hands when you come in and doing all those things. And again,
that's gonna be the
Temp
new
gets up,
norm too. You're
that's
gonna
it.
walk into a place and they're gonna be taking your temp.
yeah,
I mean, I went to the podiatrist this morning, and first thing she did, I had to wait out in the parking lot, call them and say, I'm in the parking lot. When she was ready, she came out, told me I can come in, then first thing she does is take my temp.
yeah.
I says- And it's the same way when I went to the doctor. I mean, this is,
Yeah, we'll see how long this lasts. You know, it is one of those challenging pieces that, you know, knowing people are asymptomatic for, depending on who you read, 2 to 4 to 5 days, you know, some of this temperature taking seems like it's almost too much, but we're doing everything we can. You know,
Yeah.
we're doing the same thing in my office, doing everything we can to make sure everybody's safe. And that's what it comes down to, especially in surgical cases.
yeah, my wife Linda works in assisted living, only works 3 days a week, but yeah, here again, you like to stay busy.
Right.
Take her temp when she goes in, and
Yeah.
take her temp when she leaves. They have no cases where she works, not a one.
Good.
That's great.
They had one, and the minute they find out, they ship them out,
Okay.
so that the rest of the population doesn't get
Right.
the virus. And they don't come back to it,
Clear.
yeah, negative. And that's the way we're gonna see more of that happening. I think you're gonna end up, you know, I remember back in the 50s, they had hospitals just for tuberculosis,
Right.
because tuberculosis is it spreads easy.
Mhm.
In fact, it was in Worcester County, it was at Worcester County Hospital, where the jail is located now. And they use I think they use a building now for alcohol, drunk driving.
Oh.
So it's in West Boylston, it's still there.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the Worcester County Hospital.
Okay.
It's my grandmother ended up there, my paternal grandmother. She had TB. They cured her.
Wow.
But I was just a little guy.
Mhm.
1953, my brother and I got to go up there through the tornado that hit Worcester. My father got a special pass because she was there.
Wow.
And I still remember waving to her, she was up on the top, on the top floor, 'cause we couldn't go in.
I was gonna say you couldn't go in,
No, but
so
we could
similar
wave
to
for-
now.
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
could wave to her.
that's what we're doing now.
What we're doing now, see?
Yeah.
I mean, see, things change, but they don't.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's amazing, isn't it?
it is, yeah. When they say
and
history
it's-
repeats, well, it does in
And
peculiar ways.
and we'll adapt and survive and come out on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get, you know, we're gonna have, we don't wanna lose any lives. It's a shame when we do, and it's really miss them. But the thing is, we're not gonna lose the whole population. We'll survive and we'll adjust to it.
Exactly.
And, you know, we can work to stay safe and do some of the smart things and minimize our chances, but,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
that's the thing, you gotta keep yourself healthy. You know,
Right.
your immune system is the most important item you got in your body, because that's what keeps you healthy. And I try to keep mine up. Eat well, get a lot of sleep, and, you know, you take some supplements. Like I take a multivitamin, I take a vitamin D, I increase it in the winter, because you don't get as much sun. But get outside, that's the most important thing, get out.
get out and move.
Yeah.
Fresh air.
You know, when someone gets real pale from not being out, that's part of being sick. Your body's saying, hey, I need to get some sunlight. We're natural to that.
Right.
There's a reason why we're attracted to it.
Yeah.
It is, it's good for our bodies.
And walking, just any kind of, I exercise every day too. And that's how you keep going. And you know what, if you lose your immune system, that's where you bring on the diabetes and all kinds of cancer and everything else. Because if your immune system malfunctions. So if you can keep that up, and yeah, you know, especially Eric, in your field,
Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
keeping people healthy is a crucial piece of your overall health, whether it's, again, that activity piece and avoiding getting any of these chronic illnesses that will hold you back as you go along. You
Right,
know,
I mean-
it certainly makes things more complex.
nobody's gonna live forever.
Not yet.
No. Well, if we did, we'd get pretty crowded.
That's it.
Right.
You know, nature has a natural system.
Yeah.
Everything living eventually dies. Make room for something new, the new ones that are coming along, the new birds.
Yeah.
And so we have to do the same thing, but let's try and stay around as long as we can.
Well, do it intelligently, right? And
Yeah.
not
Right.
expose ourselves needlessly to things, and again, follow some of the guidelines here, but again, not live in isolation.
Right. Yeah. And that's the other thing you help with, nutrition, right? You advise your members on what to eat and when to eat and
Exactly.
how much to eat.
Exactly, yes. We can bring those kind of programs in. We also have a good relationship with the dietitian at Tri-Valley. They're the folks that oversee our nutrition program
Oh, okay,
that we
yeah.
offer through the senior center. So lots of options.
And
Yeah.
we have a couple of staff members that have gone through the program called Precision Nutrition, so they're gonna be able to have a little bit more of a certification to help out people if they have questions.
That's something we might look at the next show.
Excellent, yes,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
could do
Yeah.
that.
I think nutrition's important, and we're going into the summer months, and sometimes you can eat the wrong stuff and too much of it.
Right. And there's a lot more options for fresh
And
produce.
oh, I mean, what a great time of year. Now we're getting all good fresh fruits,
Yeah,
a lot of local stuff. Farmers opening up.
Friday.
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, you can go and get some real good fresh stuff. You'll have corn before you know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love his strawberries. I mean,
Mhm.
right out of the vine,
Yes.
and nothing like a fresh picked cucumber.
I
Mhm.
agree.
Oh, and good for you too.
Exactly.
And
And you
that's
don't,
what- that's
and you know what? You don't have to get the wax off the peel. You can
No.
eat the whole thing. You can eat a lot of nutrition in the peel.
Mhm.
But if you buy them in a supermarket, you got to peel them because they're covered with wax.
Right.
So you buy them over at Ken's and get them right out of the garden.
Well, and that is one of the positives of this hitting us when it did, right? We're not hitting this if we were dealing with, it was December right now, and we had the absence of nice weather coming and fresh
Oh.
vegetable coming and things like that, it would be far
Yeah.
more challenging, so that is in our favor.
It'd be easier to stay in, but it'd be a
Yeah.
lot tougher, yeah.
would be
Much to
more
our detriment, though,
Mhm.
so.
I agree.
Okay, how are we doing, Aaron?
5.
Hi, wow, okay. We started a little bit after the hour, so I wasn't sure on how we stood. We got 5
Okay.
minutes. Yeah, so we can bring up nutrition, we can bring up exercising, we can talk about, we'll be talking about Medicare,
Yep.
and about insurances, and technology, everything we talked about, technology
Exactly.
for seniors.
Right, and options of getting people more comfortable with using devices, whether it be a tablet or a phone. As I said, we're really exploring that as one of the main projects when we get back to the center, because we think it's a good way to get to our people.
You know, there was a time when, not everyone had a telephone in their house.
Right,
I grew up without a telephone for a lot of years, used my grandfather's. Then you had party lines. But I'm thinking that we're gonna reach a point where you're gonna have people who will not be without an internet service.
mhm,
Right now, we got a lot of people that don't have it because it's extra,
mhm,
but I think you're gonna reach a point that everyone will have it. Your TV will, the only way to get your TV picture will be internet.
right, it'll be becoming a
Yeah, well,
necessity.
We're not
over-
far from that now.
No, we're not.
You know,
I actually,
I know my kids, again, we laugh about it and say, I don't know about Kelly, we had to share a phone when we were growing up.
Right,
Now
yeah,
the kids don't have to share a phone line, they all have their own phones.
Exactly.
yeah, your
They all
own
do,
phone
but
number,
they'll never,
Right.
and ironically, they don't even talk on it.
yeah,
You know, they spend more time texting and watching videos and stuff
Right.
like that than actually talking on it, so.
yeah.
Everything's evolving.
Yeah, so I mean, who's to say, one of these days, everybody will have internet in their home, and it'll be normal to, to talk to one another video.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting into the Jetson period, remember?
It-
I was
it
gonna
does
say,
seem
it
that
might be
way.
leading in that direction, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
Just waiting on Rosie to show up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Take care of
Oh,
the
I
house,
would
we'll be
love
all set.
Rosie, yeah, bring her on.
The only thing is, you know what, if the phone rings early in the morning, you may not wanna answer it.
No,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Give me a chance to get ready. Also, if you're just coming out of the shower, you won't answer the phone.
No, no, you can't have those moments, no.
No, have to pick and choose when you do.
Mhm.
Right. So it's changed. I mean, we've seen tremendous changes in the last, like I say, in the last 10 years even.
Right,
Mine 20 years, and so it's amazing, and it gets faster and faster.
exactly,
And that's why we're gonna try and cover this stuff in these shows and help you out. And we'll be going in right up until September,
excellent.
and then September, hopefully you'll be open again.
I'm hoping, I'm really thinking that the fall will be when we can really be up and running again.
I think that by then they'll have a handle on things, and it won't be as concerned. I think the big concern was that the medical people weren't sure how to handle this,
Right,
how contagious it was. Now we're finding more and more, they're saying that, well, it's not as contagious on surfaces as we thought.
Mhm.
It doesn't last as long as we thought. Well, they didn't know that.
No.
They didn't know
Lot
if
of
it
unknowns.
lasted weeks.
Well, and the challenge was, I think, the sheer number of people that didn't have any immunity to it all. So again, any little
Yes.
bit of an exposure, you were gonna flood the medical system, and again, not that they couldn't necessarily handle it, they couldn't handle the volume. And if you did have
Yes.
something else, if you hurt your back, and wanted to go to the ER, you didn't wanna go to the ER because you were gonna get exposed. And those were more, it was a numbers issue, I think, more than the actual
Yes.
virus itself.
Yeah,
And it does seem like we've successfully flattened the curve, and now we're in that kind of long, drawn-out piece of it now, where we've got to figure out how to manage it from there.
right.
And, I think there are rooms, I don't want to speak for hospitals, but I think there's room at the ICUs and things like that we were afraid of that didn't exist in March.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Hopefully we don't get to the point where we're challenging that system again, and hopefully we keep the numbers down where it's manageable, but those will be the pieces, I think, that help drive whether we're open in the fall, whether the kids are going back to school, and life is, again, getting back to normal at some point.
Yeah, I mean, here again, the kids are in the same boat, they can't socialize.
no,
It's just like the senior, and we are a socializing animal. Well, okay, we got the signal now. Okay, we'll be, this one will be recorded this Thursday, but a week from Thursday, we'll be live and we'll take phone calls. And we'll see you then.